It started with small whispers, casual texts, quiet calls, subtle shifts in tone. But as the Fever's season unraveled, those whispers grew louder, more insistent, more damning. Behind closed doors, the word was out. Owner Steve Simon had lost patience. He wasn't just disappointed in the team's performance, he was frustrated by what he saw as a failure to evolve. Insiders say he wants a clean slate, a new vision, and a new leader to deliver it. That leader won't be Stephanie White. To casual fans, it might sound sudden, even cruel. But for those following closely, the signs were there all along. Every late-game collapse, every strained press conference, every sidelong glance in the locker room told a story of a team fighting itself. Despite packed arenas and record-breaking attention, the Fever were breaking down from within. What was once a promising rebuild began to look like a civil war disguised as a season. And when Indiana's year ended with a whimper, Simon reportedly turned to his top executives and muttered the words that changed everything. "We're still running this like it's 2015. That line wasn't about strategy, it was about identity. Simon believed the Fever were stuck in the past, clinging to a culture built on patience and teamwork, while the rest of the sports world was sprinting towards star power and entertainment. To him, the future was clear. The Fever had Caitlin Clark, the most marketable, recognizable, and transformative player women's basketball has seen in decades. And yet he believed his own franchise wasn't doing enough to maximize her. In Simon's eyes, the Fever weren't just underperforming on the court, they were underperforming as a business. Stephanie White didn't see it that way. Her philosophy was rooted in discipline, balance, and collective growth. She believed in building players, not products. To her, basketball was a system, not a spectacle. That put her directly at odds with Simon, who had begun referring to the Fever as a brand, not a team. One insider recalls a heated meeting where White argued that overemphasizing one player, no matter how great, could poison team chemistry. Simon reportedly cut her off mid-sentence and said, "We're not developing. We're building a product." Those 5 words became the breaking point. From that moment on, the divide was irreversible. The locker room fractured into 2 quiet camps. On one side were the veterans who had been with White through the hard years, who believed she was the only steady hand left in a storm of noise. On the other side were the younger players, many of whom gravitated naturally toward Clark, who represented not just talent, but opportunity. It wasn't rebellion, it was survival. White was coaching from the sidelines, but Simon was steering the ship from the owner's box. The tension was everywhere, but nowhere spoken aloud. Players stopped speaking up in team meetings. Practices grew colder. Huddles looked mechanical. Even reporters began noticing the change. Answers became shorter, tones became clipped, and smiles looked rehearsed. Podcasters began calling it the Fever Mutiny, a term that spread fast across social media. The story wasn't about bad basketball anymore. It was about control. Inside Pacers Sports and Entertainment, Simon began moving quietly. Executives were instructed to conduct an internal review of leadership effectiveness. The phrase they used was organizational alignment, but those who've worked in corporate environments know what that means. Get in line or get out. Within weeks, reports surfaced that Simon's team had already begun scouting for a replacement. They wanted someone young, innovative, and fully committed to the Clark-centric model of play. Analytics, pace, media savviness, those were the buzzwords. Not teamwork, not culture, not balance. Names started circulating. One former Fever assistant known for his connection with players and social media presence. A college coach with deep ties to Iowa's basketball program, someone who knew Clark's system like second nature. Even a few bold ideas involving high-profile NCAA coaches making the leap to the pros. None of it was official, but all of it carried the same message. Change was coming, and it was coming soon. Behind the scenes, the emotional fallout was devastating. Some of the veteran players were reportedly in tears when they heard the news that White's position was in jeopardy. For them, she wasn't just a coach. She was the anchor that steadied them through years of losing seasons and rebuilding. "We didn't even get a chance to fight for her," one player allegedly said. Younger players, wary of the politics, stayed silent. Caitlin Clark herself, always poised and focused, avoided the noise completely. To some, that silence was professionalism. To Simon's circle, it was validation. Officially, the organization stayed quiet. No public statements, no press leaks. But internally, staff members were told to avoid speculation and maintain message discipline. The same approach Simon used during the Fever's internal shakeups last summer was now being repeated. Silence first. Replacement second. Podcasters connected the dots and fans did too. Social media filled with comments like, "White's gone." It's the Caitlin Clark era now. And honestly, they might not be wrong, because underneath all the emotional chaos lies a simple truth. Follow the money. Since Caitlin Clark joined the team, revenue has exploded. Ticket sales have tripled. Merchandise is flying off the shelves. Sponsorship deals are flooding in. But every dollar, every check, every penny of that success runs through one man, Steve Simon. And billionaires don't see emotion. They see results. When the brand slips, heads roll. To Simon, this isn't about disrespect or betrayal. It's about business. He believes you can't build a billion-dollar product with internal division. He's not firing Stephanie White, the coach. He's firing Stephanie White, the traditionalist. And in her place, he'll install someone who treats basketball like entertainment, not philosophy. Insiders say marketing executives were consulted before basketball staff on the next hire.